Hi everyone, my name is Joe Bradford. I'm a leadership and cultural change consultant, and this is my very first video. What I want to talk about is being in the moment, the power of now, being mindful, present. Think of your best moments you've ever had in your entire life. The reason why you remember them is because it's entirely likely that you were completely present to that particular experience, and that's what had it touch you to the extent that it did, and that's why you remember it. If you think of athletes, they'll often talk about being in the zone, being present, being mindful when they accomplish great things in the sporting arena. So I think it's a largely unexplored space, because I think in our world we're conditioned not to be present, not to be mindful, not to be in the zone or in the now. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to use a very standard model that many of you would have seen in the past, above and below the line, to make my point. But above the line would be when you are being present and mindful, and below the line is when you're being reactive, overly preoccupied with stuff that's happened in the past, or worried about what might happen in the future. So I'm going to talk a little bit more detail about what I mean by above the line. And when I talk about the above the line, I'm talking about you, the space that you're in as an individual. So above the line, I would describe it as the conscious you, awake you, deliberate you, self-aware you. You know, it's you driving the bus, your bus, not circumstances. And what I mean by your bus is your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your behaviors, everything deliberate, conscious, aware, like that. Pretty clear, yeah? And then you have below the line, which is reactive you, emotional you, stimulus and response you, crusty you, cranky you. Stuff happens and we react. It's not that space is not bad, but it's certainly not you at your best. And it's draining. And it's draining on you, and it's draining on others, quite frankly. And it's not good for you physically, health-wise, to be in a constant state of persistence or resistance, or reacting, or being angry, or adding meaning where no meaning ought to be added. So it's the you that's preoccupied with the past, shit that's happened, or worried about the future, complaining, judging you. It's a negative narrative. And the issue is it's largely unexamined, it's automatic, it's draining. And for many of us, it's a lather, rinse, repeat kind of thing. It persists. If your day gets off to the wrong start, I know in the past that's the way it was for me. It would just persist. It would, the day would just go a particular way, and I thought that was just a crap day, as opposed to thinking I could have been the master of that day. All right, so we want to look at how do you get above the line. There's lots of ways, and in a short video like this, I want to limit it to some simple things. But first thing I want you to consider, it's a bit of a stretch, is that there's no such thing as the past, and there's no such thing as the future. If you really look, all you'll see is you've got your whole life has been a bunch of nows strung together. So if you were to practice what I call mastery of the moment, mastery of the now, and that's you being at the helm of the quality of that moment, just think of what could happen to the quality of your days, of your weeks, of your years, of your life. So I'm going to talk about some, a longer video. We could get really deep and meaningful, but I'm going to keep this really short, sharp, and sweet. So basically what you want to do is change the narrative, because a lot of being below the line when you're preoccupied with stuff that's happened, or worrying about stuff that's going to happen in the future, it's like it's a narrative going through your brain, right? So essentially what you want to do is change the narrative. I'm going to talk about some really basic ways that you can do them that are pretty obvious, but if you put them to practice, you get better at this, and you get quicker at moving yourself out of cranky states, if you will. So one of them is fairly obvious. It's movement. Like Yesterday I woke up and was feeling a little bit flat. So I did a little bit of work, stuff that didn't require a whole lot of, had a great deal of creativity, and I jumped on the treadmill. So movement, it's anything that'll get your body movement, get your organs pumping, get some juices flowing, change your physiology. Doesn't have to be exerting yourself. You may not have time to jump on the treadmill, but it's jump on the treadmill, go for a run, go for a walk, do a lap, get your body moving. It can be even dancing, singing. Anything that alters your physiology will alter the narrative that's driving the mood that you might be particularly stuck in. So that's one. What's another one? I call it reframing, or saying something different about what's just happened. So what do I mean by reframing? So here, I could get up one day and be cranky because I had a fight with my wife and spend the whole day describing and reporting and judging on a fight I had with my wife. And what happens? You stay in that mood, you stay in that narrative, you stay, the physiology matches it, there's tension, and it persists, and who wants that, right? So reframing it is, instead of whinging about, or lather, rinse, repeat, keep saying the same language or describing that person in the same way. Try saying something different. This is a little bit weird, but it works. Okay, so next time when you're having a fight with your significant other, and you walk away, and you've got like 30 seconds or 5 minutes or 5 hours to decide that you're going to get over it and move on and have a conversation to sort it out. How quickly you do that is up to you, but here's a really powerful thing that works. So you walk away from a fight, you're sitting on your bed, and you think, and I want you to say these words out loud. Instead of what you would normally be running in your brain, I want you to say, these are the qualities of the woman that I love. These are the attributes of the woman that I married. These are the qualities and behaviors of my partner for life. Doesn't matter what you say, but you want to change the narrative. Say something different. Next time you have a fight, give it a go. You'll be amazed how you'll go from being very linear and angry and tension in the head to all of a sudden maybe a good percentage of the anger dissipating. So movement, change the narrative. Another one is just practice being more positive. They always say there's fixed mindset versus growth mindset people. There's half glass full versus half glass empty people. That's real shit. It just depends on what you practice. Years ago, when I was around super positive people, I used to think they were full of shit. I used to find them annoying. No one can be that happy all the time. Particularly, they've got to have shit going on in their lives, right? But I found out that wasn't true, that my muscle was weak. So what you do is you just start thinking different thoughts, choosing something different to say, looking for the positive, and it's incredible. After a couple of days, weeks, months, it's like going to the gym. You practice that muscle, and then invariably over time, what starts to happen is you naturally start to have positive interpretations and finding the good in people and things versus default negative, judgy, like that. So it's simple stuff, but you practice it, it works. So movement, reframing, practice being positive. Couple other ones, 2 more, and then we're going to wrap it up. Another one is, and this isn't something you're going to do in the middle of a fight, but it's silence. Your brain needs time to switch off, so allow yourself time in the day to shut off. No thoughts. Without thought, no thing. Brain can't handle all, the concept of light and shade. If it's all light, all activity, it's not good for your brain, it's not good for your body, it's not good for you, and it wears you out, and it becomes hard to switch off at the end of the day when you're trying to get some sleep. So you got to get practice at giving your body, your brain, shut off time, even if it's only for 30 seconds or 5 minutes, or, going for a walk, or just doing some breathing. Meditation is a profoundly powerful activity to switch off. Just rhythmic breathing for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Before you know it, you'll be doing an hour. It gives the brain the ability to shut off. This is a machine, an incredible machine, but it's for most of us, it's very tired because it's constantly in do mode, thinking mode, and it never gets to shut off. So this is another thing that can help you switch states. The other one is something that I practiced the other day, and I'm going to leave you with this one. It's take some action. So it could be like if you're crusty, call someone up and thank them for something. Call someone up and appreciate and acknowledge them for something. So what happens is you're going from whatever narrative you got going on in your head about whatever's pissing you off or whatever, yeah, and you call someone up or you go visit someone that you're working with across the office, and you go. It just has to be genuine. You go thank them for something, acknowledgement and appreciation. So you're changing the narrative, and you're going to find that you go back to your desk, and all of a sudden your state has changed. So it's take some action. It could be do something nice for someone, random act of kindness, acknowledge them. Another one that worked for me really powerfully yesterday is take a bold action. For me, a bold action is, call him. In this case, it was the CEO of a large company. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to call him. I made that call, I connected, I landed the appointment, and my whole day was set off. I was doing a dance and a jig for the rest of the day, only because, and I got out of bed feeling a little bit of flat. So between a little bit of time on the treadmill and making that call totally shifted my day. So what do we got there? Movement, reframing, practice being positive, silence and meditation, and take action. Ask her out. Ask for the raise, acknowledge someone, random act of kindness, make that call, just do something. Practice these things and you're going to find that you can move from here to here a lot quicker, the muscle gets stronger, and you become more of a master of your moments. I hope that was helpful. We'll talk to you again some other time. Ciao.